Hi there, crafty friends. Welcome and thank you for joining me. Today, I thought we would take a look at the Step Into Style suite from Pink Fresh Studio. When I first saw this set, I knew I had to get it. It immediately reminded me of a friend I had when I was working at a title company. Gosh, a long time ago, 20 years ago almost. And she used to wear strappy heels every day. And I knew I wanted to use this, so I have the stamp set here along with the press plate, the die set, and the stencil set. But we are going to hot foil, and I actually already did that. I've got my image here hot foiled in black foil, and I just love that dramatic look. I love a good black outline. So let's go ahead and get this trimmed down and we can get to work stenciling. This is a 6-piece stencil set, but we are going to skip some of the stencils because I am going to make this very, very simple. I've seen a lot of cards with a lot of dramatic colors and they do the entire box, but I want my box to be two-toned. I want a darker lid and a white base. So we're going to skip a couple stencils. I'm starting with Raspberry Bliss, and I'm bringing in a big brush. I love these big brushes. You can get such a beautiful even blend with these big brushes. And I want to concentrate more on the outer edges of the box so I can get some good shading in there. Like we've got a little bit of light hitting it from the front, and I'll just get nice even coverage. And Raspberry Bliss is a very bright color, but I love it. And you can see that I concentrated more on the outer edge of that box. Then we've got stencil number 2, and we will be skipping this one because this is the bottom portion of the box and I want that to remain white. Then we've got stencil number 3, and we've got our bow and our butterfly on the shoe. And for that, I am coming in with Sparkling Rose just so I can get an even layer of ink on there. And I think I need to adjust that just a little bit. There we go. I got that adjusted. And I am going to hold this little flap down a little bit just so my ink doesn't get underneath that. And I want this coat of ink to be pretty light towards the ends and heavier in the middle where those crease lines are, where the fold lines are in that bow. So I'll bring in a smaller brush and I'll just kind of go in a circle around that to get that a little bit darker. And then for my butterfly, we'll do that Sparkling Rose again. And I'll come in just a little heavier at the base. Then we've got stencil number 4, and this is the other section on our bow and the rest of our little butterfly there. And for our bow, I will use Sparkling Rose again, but I'm going to be a little heavier handed this time because I want just a little bit of definition in those sections. Then I'll come in with my little brush and just make swirls in the center. And then for my butterfly, let's see how much ink we have on our big brush. We're coming in with Raspberry Bliss for the accents on that butterfly. And I need to bring in another brush with some more ink. So my friend I used to work with, I haven't seen her in over 20 years. And you know what? I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think her birthday is in April. I think I might send her this card. And look at that, so pretty. Now for our shoe, this stencil number 5 is the main portion of our shoe, and I want that to remain white. So I am going to skip stencil number 5 and go directly to stencil number 6. And here we will do the insole and the inside of the heel. And for that, I will bring in Rocky Slope. And I'm coming in with the big brush because I can get nice light coverage with that big brush. And I don't have to worry about harsh marks. So there we've got that. But then I will also come in with my smaller brush, and we're going to mask just a little bit. So I want this little section right here to be darker because that's like the inside up on top that would rest on the top of your foot. And then the same thing here for the inside of the strap. Then I'll move that mask and I'm going to move it over here to the inside of that heel area. And then we will also do the underside of that heel. Let's get our mask or our stencil off. And I love it. That is so pretty. Now we can bring in our die set and get that die cut. And I will use just a little bit of tape just to make sure that stencil doesn't, or that die doesn't move in my die cutting machine. And that die cut beautifully. I love that. So now we can actually go ahead and already start assembly on our card. Isn't that pretty? I just love that. So for our background, I brought in an older Pink Fresh cover plate, and this is called Floral Backdrop. I could not find this on their website, so I think they have discontinued it, but I did find it at scrapbook.com. I have linked that in the description. And I just dry embossed that. We get that great impressed detail. And then I've also got a nested rectangle postage edge piece cut. I cut that out of black and I used the largest one. So let's directly adhere our background with some liquid glue. I just love how easy Pink Fresh makes creating elegant cards. This card came together so quickly and so easily. I wanted to try to do a different color scheme. I've seen a lot of blues and teals and grays, but I wanted this a little bit different. I mean, a lot of the cards are going to look similar because we're all using the same image, but it's all about your color choices. So I added some foam tape to the back of my image here. We're just going to pop that up there. Then I've got some foam tape on the back of my black panel. And that black cardstock is Raven from Spellbinders. I love Spellbinders cardstock because it is so thick. We can add this to our top folding card base. And now all we need is a sentiment and some gems. For my sentiment, I hot foiled Celebrate in Style in silver. Actually, that's matte silver. I'll add a little bit of foam square behind that. And that was thick foam square that I've got back there. Now we just need to figure out where to place it. And I'll add a little bit of liquid glue behind my C. And then for my gems, I'm bringing in magenta glitter drops. And I will just strategically place these all around on my shoe and on my background. And that card is done. I think that came out so pretty. I love the black background. And then we've got our black hot foil. It just is striking. I've also got one here that I added I don't know if you can tell, I added a little bit of the Raspberry Bliss inking behind that just to give it a little shadow back there. And that one is also pretty. Then I've got one that I did in purples. So you can change up your color to anything that you want. You can customize it for your recipient. And then I've also got one here. I'll be honest with you. When I first saw this set, I was not a big fan of the butterfly. So I also purchased the stamp set so I could mask off the butterfly. And you know what? It just didn't look finished to me. I like it. It's really nice. But I think that butterfly just really adds something to the whole image. So I don't know. I'm torn. I like both. I like it without the butterfly and I like it with. Which is your favorite? Do you like it with or without the butterfly? Thank you so much for spending time with me. Everything I used will be listed and linked in the description below. Please give me a thumbs up. Please leave me a comment and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.